How's it going, guy? Okay, it would be great if this worked. Okay, cool. How's it going, guys? Um, let's see here. Did it work is the question. Okay. Yeah, kind of. It kind of worked. Oh man, it's supposed to do the vertical stream too, but it didn't. So, oh, you know what? And I'm on normal latency. This is what happens when I don't stream for like a month or longer. I forget all my normal settings. Okay, well, anyways, you guys are in a little bit of a delay. But you know, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so the first part of our stream is we're gonna be talking to Carl today. That's gonna be fun, right? We're gonna be talking to Carl.
I hope.
Can you link your YouTube to me? Carl is somebody who's friends with Dev, Short Fat Otaku, and Carl, I guess I stopped by Carl's stream one day recently because he like defended me in a Twitter argument, so I just wanted to give him a thank you.
As all good, as all good conversations and friendships start.
And I was like, sure. Hair's looking awesome today. Hope the tacos well. Thank you. And then later, for the other part of the stream, I'm doing research on one of my video essays. I've got a couple going right now. As you guys know, I've been working really long on one that's about a creator, but I also have another one going that's more broad about like why everybody hates Indian people right now. So yeah, we're gonna have fun. So that should be fun to research. All right. And this is Carl's YouTube. Go check him out. Okay? All right. Let me call him right now.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I should turn on my video, shouldn't I?
Boop. And I press the button. I have pressed the button. I need to turn my webcam off so my webcam can function, actually.
Oh, okay. No problem. How's it going?
I am alive with the sound of music and chicanery.
The hills are alive with the sound of music. You can't say that. You can't make references to Sound of Music with me because I'll start remembering all the songs. Not acceptable. We're already on a bad start here, so.
I can't get any worse than my debate performance, but, you know, the world keeps turning. Yeah, keep breathing.
I'm sure your debate performance wasn't bad. Debates are just, whatever, you know? They're just whatever, so.
I have a very strong opinion that in many cases, the way that a person should really look at a debate is that you should really probably just only process it in the mentality of content. But I'm of the opinion, I'm of the opinion that when it comes to the kind of content that I go on Wik to do, which is all of 2 times, the problem that I come up facing is that the way that people look at debates, it is very much skewed in the direction that it is just a replacement for internet blood sports. People very rarely are actually engaged with the conversation. From my experience, the pit, I wouldn't necessarily say Wik is the Den of Vipers, but the type of people that, as it's been said to me, because there's been multiple people who have tried to talk to me about it, had a conversation with me about it, and then just mentioned it offhand to me, because they don't like Destiny, that the, quote, Destiny runoff is not going to be capable of grasping something like what I was saying there. And even though I didn't necessarily do the best performance, work screen, goddamn you, it is to me that, turn on, turn off, there we go. It is to me that, it's the case that, god damn it, why won't it work? It is the case to me that for something like, say, getting people to actually understand that the internet is kind of dying and dead, the medium itself will probably live in some format, but actually socializing with people is almost completely kaput. They're not going to really get that because, you know, they're cooked. Like they're cooked. Like mentally they are cooked. They have ceded that argument away from themselves. They don't want to accept that as true. So
wait, explain to me how socializing is dead.
Okay, so there was a time period from about, say, 2011 to 2019, and then it floated for a little bit because of COVID, and then the COVID bubble burst officially in 2022, when the economy finally properly recovered. That in that time period, before we even knew what the word Fortress Arc meant, People had social groups that they belonged to, either because of necessity, because of involvement of work for what their praxis or their actual ongoing work projects were, or because they fell into the friend circle because they were already friends with the person. And then, because they liked being around them, they naturally started doing things with them because they liked being there, and those things followed suit with them. Then, what ended up happening is that, I'm sure you're aware of the phrase political homelessness. People started becoming politically homeless. They started being purity tested, that they weren't good enough to be in a social group. Let me try again with my camera. They weren't considered good enough to be in a social group because the social group demanded of them that they have to behave a certain way, otherwise they're not allowed to be in the club. Then, once that started happening, it was 2 steps away from the purity test because we think you're not aligned with our politics to the purity test of you're not aligned with my personal moral compass, which they don't have one. I say the proverbial they because it's literally the people that come to you and do this. So say the political bread tube stack. People that I don't want to say the N-word even though I'm going to be saying N-I-G-G-A, but the Nebula elite, if I wanted to quote something from a video I saw the other day. The kind of people that make content on Nebula. Specifically because they bring content creators to the creator of Nebula. And Nebula himself is a left-wing leftist who wants to claim they're not shitheads. Meaning, if you don't agree with his politics, you're a shithead. They naturally push people out of their circles and thus out of material because they need the worldview to reflect the people who they're interacting with and the worldview that they want to strive for, not the actual political reality and the physical reality of who occupies the space. So, go all the way back. Scan the skies like Khonshu, all the way back to Twitch, circa 2014 to 2018, when the Hippy Dippy Championship still lived, when you could possibly catch Destiny pushing actual Jake's shit in, and Dylan Burns sitting there saying, oh my god, he put me in the cage match again, I can't stop this. You had a lively, kind of bad, depending on them, because most of the people involved were dirtbag leftists, and they hid their power level so that you didn't know that they were. But you had a spear of people that either for social reasons, for content reasons, for drama reasons, because they just basically lived on the front page of LSF, or for actual gaming and social reasons, because they were actual personal friends. You had people who were involved with each other. They went canvassing, they did events, they hung out, they did content, they did big panel content, they invited people into their spheres of influence, and from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, people started getting pulled up. This was how White Forest and White Leaf was put together, with Vosh and Nervosa. They had a very big network full of people. Even if they didn't necessarily agree directly with the supposed sock-dem utilitarian politics of Ian Kaczynski, aka Vosh, it was the case that when he came up in Destiny's audience as Irish Laddie, and then had to basically do the walk of shame concerning his behavior with Poppy, and his argumentation about adults with children, he eventually got to the point that he then spawned his own clones. That's how you got Vosh creating Shark03 and Demon Mama and other people like them. The kind of people that nowadays get called crumb tubers, because it was a term that was thought up by people like Dev and Sargon and the rest of them, and it just stuck. Because they're smaller creators on YouTube that effectively are sucking up to these people for crumbs. If they actually produce something of their own value, that they're becoming proper big YouTubers. Big in this concept is like 100K, but I really think it's like between 10K to 100K. Like, a smaller creator is somebody who's at the size that I guess me and you are at. Or 2 years, or rather I should think like whenever Dev made that shout out video for the both of us, which I think is 2022, 2-ish to 3-ish years ago would have been the size that we were at then. Because like I was in the third digits when I was starting to pop off with my podcast before I had to put it on indefinite hiatus. Those smaller creators that basically were nothing burgers in the field of the work, the people who popularized the attitude of the smaller streamer syndrome, of being worried about they're stepping on their heels, they're stepping on people's toes, and they're going to embarrass themselves. And so that ends up making them on the outs with this group. They must get in with this group in order to get to the big leagues. Because LSF is not monetizable to smaller streamers. only mid-size and higher level. And most of the people who are on LSF, they are either big in their own right, or they are a part of an organization. They're a part of the Poggers community. They're part of the WL community. They are personal friends with Cutie Cinderella and Ludwig. They are friends with people, if not dating, if not the boyfriends, the wags, the wives and girlfriends, the boyfriends and husbands of One True King of OTK, NMP, his group, etc. Or a bigger org, like say an actual esports organization on a streaming contract, like like Team Liquid or Tempo Storm. Shout out to Caterino. Or people that were a part of like the bigwig organizations like FaZe. This was how you made your bones. The only other way
I just need to really quickly shout out as well. Little Bits, thank you so much for the memberships. Very much appreciated. I can see you. What's up?
Fix it.
Okay, so I think I know what I think I see what you're saying. And I think so what you're saying is basically like it used to be that the socializing in the sense of a creator is kind of dead right now, and it may be dead for a while. Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense to me. I think back when there were more panel shows, and there were fun panel shows, it was a lot easier to socialize, and I think everybody's kind of gone fortress mode right now. I don't know if it will stay like that forever, though. I think it is the nature of the space that we're in. I mean, right now, the space that I'm in, I don't even know where I am. I think it's transforming. It's changing. I think I'm changing. But I do think that collaboration will come back. As far as like socializing, like, and people being pulled up, I think you're right that in a more permanent sense, probably it's going to be harder to be pulled up as a creator because of all of the large organizations involved or just all of the in-groups involved, right? Though I don't think it's impossible.
It's not impossible. So, it's like this is one of the it's one of the issues that is being caused because YouTube is incapable of getting the shit together. Technically, we blame Susan Wojcicki for this, but it's really this constant boom in the industry and their desire to go towards bigger figures rather than remembering the people that made the platforms what they were, which was the mid-level and smaller people. The injection of new blood that came from people who had something hungry to make, something hungry to say, or something hungry to do and show and to share with other people is what made YouTube and even Twitter, especially in Jack Dorsey's days, possible. What really is stifling the problem, and why I say that is the main mechanism, is because until the algorithms are properly fixed from when they were originally sabotaged, so that leftist creators were being made priority creators during a time where they were actively using that as a way to become industry benchmarks for what was considered the norm. Because left was considered the norm for a very serious period of time. Even if it was just left or center.
Yeah. Until
you restrict the AI problem, that's the number one problem. Because AI is fucking all of us, even when we don't know it. Like, we just had a scare about that the last 3-4 months of the fiscal quarter last year. Because the AI decided to inject restricted mode on some people's accounts, and then actively control what they could see on the platform. And then the front page of YouTube itself, ever since Wojcicki, unfortunately passed, but more specifically when she was still with us, stepped down from her position. The way that she saw that YouTube should function is similar to the way in which the current owner, or not owner, but this current CC position of the CEO of Twitch thinks that the website should work, which I'm thinking of Dan, what's his name? The old man that looks like he's the brother of fucking Richard Bronson. Dan Clancy?
Yeah, like the loser brother of Richard Branson, yeah.
Yes. Dan Clancy, I think his name is.
Dan Clancy, yeah, that's yes.
Dan Clancy thinks that broadcasting and creation is supposed to be a constant spectacle. And there's an idea where you can be right, but that's not the only way to make content. I remember when they first brought in the 2014 model after they bought the platform, after the entire spectacle of Twitch Plays Pokemon, which was a global event where everybody was together.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
When everyone was together pressing buttons to try and either through democracy or through anarchy play through, I think it was Fire Red or one of the first gens. The idea of broadcasting was there is cool shit happening everywhere. It is a red light district on the internet, at least Twitch was, and you needed to go find a content creator that you liked, that you found an appeal with, and you just consumed their content. They made things. It was not about say necessarily the idea of YouTube's original standard of broadcasting yourself, although that was one part of it. It was that you didn't go live to entertain people. You went live to entertain yourself, and you brought your chat rooms with you, and other people, if they were also there with you as broadcasters and friends, enhanced this experience. You made things and you did things, but it was about joining up with that thing and getting involved with that thing.
Yeah, it was like a community. Very community oriented, yeah.
You needed to have the ability to build a community, or at least build the space for a community, because if you build it, they will come. And this was never at its peak than with the panel shows. Whether it was Raj Royale, whether it was whatever was going on with what Trainwreck was doing before he eventually spun off and did Kick, when Destiny used to be how he was before, when he was doing stuff with people like Not So Erudite, which helped really reinvent his image before, I don't know, sex Epstein became a thing. I would have to do more research into that, but from what I've seen, that is the case. When it was much more the case that you could have people on the platform doing whatever they want, whether it was politics, gaming, hanging out, IRL, normal chatting, panel show chatting, game shows that they invented, or whatever, as well as Twitch Rivals. Twitch Rivals was very central to this in this era. You had people that were together for an actual purpose. They didn't just gravitate towards creator because, oh, I heard that this creator is going to be doing this crazy thing with Nicki Minaj. You might see somebody shake some ass. It was actually that here's this person who's currently live. He is creating pieces and parts that are going to go into the next episode of the video he's working on. And that could have been somebody like Papa Meat. Or when Tenny Pendergrass, T-Pain, when he's signed to the platform, along with Deadmau5, when they first made their contracts, and Logic as well too, when they first signed to the platform, as some of the first actual guaranteed music creators, alongside Monster Cat, you had a feedback loop where music people and stream people were able to actually do something about the RIAA before Twitch got scared of all the streamers just constantly using Pandora and using Spotify as a replacement for broadcasts, constantly violating the contracts, that they just simply slapped all of us on top of the head and said, hey, don't do that. We're going to ban you for it. Despite the fact they went back to not caring. Even now, that 3-strike system for copyright, it's not enforced. Because if it was, there'd be so many streamers banned off this platform just like Legendary Lee. All those people that have been banned off Twitch for legitimate reasons, that then went to Kick as a way to just start over again, like Ice Poseidon did, they would have been off the platforms permanently, because they wouldn't have tolerated that shit. I'm surprised that Zerka lasted as long as he did, and that it took him deciding to content bait, oh, did I get in this bed with this girl? Did I actually sleep with her? Yeah, bro, yes I did! And it's like, no, he should have been already gone. Ice Poseidon too. How many times has he crypto-pooled his audience? And Legendary Lee too. Maybe girls shouldn't be doing things like trying to bait their audience to look up their skirts. And maybe Zoe Burger too. And maybe the host squad in totality. And maybe also Caseytron, back when she was baiting breasts, constantly playing Cassiopeia.
So the one thing I'll say is, like, as a female content creator, nobody wants to say this, right? Nobody wants to say this, nobody wants to acknowledge it. But you know, there's a higher floor for female content creators, as in, like, generally your low level is you'll have some viewers. But there's also a much lower ceiling for female content creators, and it's much harder, I feel, to grow. If you're like a male, yes, your floor is like a rock bottom, but generally all the top streamers, period, or all the top creators tend to be male. And so, like, I am a little bit sympathetic towards women when it comes to, like, I personally, it's not something that I would doing like the e-girl stuff, right? But at the same time that, there are two ways to get more notoriety as a female streamer, right? And nobody wants to say this, but it is the truth, right? One is doing the e-girl thing and using your body and showing off your boobs or whatever, right? Or showing off flirting with your chat, whatever, providing the girlfriend experience. The other one is hanging around a male content creator that's much larger than you. And that is just the unfortunate reality of it, right? So it kind of sucks. So while I agree, like I personally didn't like also a lot of the audience that came into Twitch when I used to stream on Twitch, and there would be all these e-girls, and you know, the audience was super toxic around that. At the same time, I find it really hard to completely like you know, criticize these women because they were just going with where the market was, right?
Yeah.
And so like, you know, it's hard. I don't know if Twitch banned all of that, maybe the audience would be better, right? But I'm sure then they would find another way to like do it, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate scolders bridle that they tie onto the genders of platform creators, because I don't choose to look at creators based on their gender for what they do for content.
Yeah.
I look at their content of character. Because when you look at the content of character, it makes it very obvious who's here to actually be a creator and who is here to make the easy money, because it is capitalistically to their benefit to do so. If you look at it like it is a job description, the egos, their job is to try to find the loopholes to create the drama to make the money. Because the ultimate problem at the end of the day is that Twitch runs itself on an attention economy for as long as it does not have an actual discoverability system. Because I'm so sorry, the advice of telling people that you need to constantly spam short-form content in order to popularize themselves, that is going to be what grinds people to a halt. Every single time I listen to people like Devin Nash explain this, even now that he's not with his group anymore from Novo, it has been the case ever since he was the head of it for a lot of those people who are managed by this platform, because he was the part of the group that manages people like Pokimane and Valkyrie and blah, 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 blah. He has always made it clear that the problem is an integrity issue, because it's the same reason why there is an issue with botting, both view botting and stream botting, both hostility for other people to ruin them, and for yourself to promote yourself. Because the fake it till you make it perspective is half of the issue. It's like, well, I wouldn't say half. It's more like 1/4. 1/4 is people trying to fake it till they make it. So they use the bots to replace an actual audience. And nobody respects it, which is the respect issue, where people just decide to cheat the system. Because, well, if I don't do this, I'm actively punishing myself. If I do this, yes, I'm illegitimate, but only for a while. I'll find an audience. Out of the thousands of millions of broadcasters that are streaming to 0 viewers, then you have...
I've known so many... Oh, man, it's so sad. Sorry, go ahead.
It's no problem. Then you have the integrity problem, which this is the scolder bridle that they put on the women. We are in a business that is one part master of ceremonies and one part live reality show. Every single second that there is a camera on a woman, there are 3 questions that are going to go through the minds of a viewer that is going to see her for the first time, and they're going to do it because it is the most normal human thing to do. 1, does she have an OnlyFans? 2, is it easy to find? 3, is she doing some type of system that the current e-thoughts do? Like, what is her name? Morgue Pie. Literally featured on Brazzers. Are they actively participating in this behavior while on the platform, and are they gaming the system because it works to their benefit to do so? It is unfortunate that this is a factor of influencer marketing, because it is quite literally one of the cheat codes to get that immediate audience. You get eyes on you immediately, you get money immediately. Because the curve for male and female content creators, the men can start from rock bottom from nothing, and by naturally being themselves, they go on a parabolic scope. Maybe it goes a lot faster exponentially. Maybe they have a much longer curve, like creators like myself. But people will hear about them, people will discover them, they will eventually have something. Because at the end of the day, unless they specifically choose to go the queer Marxist route, and they choose to be a femboy for attention and for clout, Fenster, or they choose to go the integrity route and they're just themselves, even though they might be a kooky character like fucking XQC, for whatever goes through Felix's mind that makes him act the way that he does. Which, so glad he finally came to the side of understanding why reacting harder is important. Thanks, Hassan. You, even in the case of Hassan Piker, will have people that will find a reason to like them. Even though in Hassan's case, it's because he's a dude, bro. He always has been. He's just created his content for people to accept him as a leftist. And because he has money, and because the people in his audience that are younger, that are women, find him attractive, and he actively asks for them to send him nudes, he uses this as a part of that lever. And the women are a part of the popularity. Because they're also the ones that are on Reddit the most, promoting his content, putting the drama cycle in there, because it gives him content to watch, even if it's passive. Even if it's just, yeah, I like him for his takes, and yes, he is handsome, but that's not the reason I like it. You are a part of the Hassan industrial complex. Same thing applies and ripples across everything, from the lowest guy to the funniest person on Twitter. The women go like this. There is a wall physically holding back the women, and it's because of the fact that you don't know if that woman is truly honest. I mention Caterino because she, and her involvement with Call Me Carson and all of the other 6 guys that she was sleeping with, which then led to some of the greatest music ever made in the history of Twitch for the 7th time, is a open case study of exactly the kind of social climbing that Twitch has become known for. Now, if you go,
I can't even blame women for social climbing by sleeping with people, right? Like, again, it's something that I wouldn't do, but like holy moly, the fact that that so many women are held back, and the only way that they can network with people is to sleep with them. It seems like a really sick kind of reality we live in, right? Like,
if not sleeping with them, going to their parties and having to seem like they're a fun person to be around, so that they keep inviting them back.
I don't know. Like, it just fucking sucks. And like, I don't know. Sorry, I don't mean to derail, but okay. I just wanted to really quickly say, somebody super chatted, new media's biggest failure. Thank you, Lost Coyote of MA. New media's biggest failure was trying to compete with legacy media rather than doing its own thing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. But I do have to say, like, it just like some guys will get really mad at women for engaging in that kind of social climbing. And again, it's not something that I do or I've ever done, but can I really blame women when that is like, dudes can show up, be friends with each other, be bros with each other, and shake hands, and as long as they get along, they can like socially climb that way. But the only way a woman can do that is sleeping with people. Like, like, it feels bad.
Yes, because
I don't know.
It's bad because the problem is a self-perceived, self-fulfilling prophecy that now can never be fixed until you clean out the C-suite of Twitch. You have to remove every single person who's in a position of power, and probably some of the employees too, by the look of those slacks that we got from Dan. You have to clean out every single part of the company, and you have to put it onto Amazon that if you do not fix this problem, because the bots are going to fuck them in the first place. The bots are going to end up making this happen way longer before the terrorism. The terrorism is also an addendum problem, as well as people literally doing stochastic terrorism and harassment through platforms while siphoning views from content creators. You have this problem where you have a locked-in perception of what Twitch is. And certainly, yes, in the past, Twitch was gaming all the time, and you still had culture that had IRL, but it was still centered, it was still centered around gaming culture. Ever since the inclusion of IRL, you have, and every other hobby, you have a subgroup for subgroups. So you're never going to have a holistic view of gaming. And the problem that this creates is that the idea of somebody like, say, StarCraft Livy, who is a Grandmaster Champion, possibly seeing her go live on her stream, and she ends up getting into a StarCraft match with Winter StarCraft, and now you're dual streaming both their views to watch his Protoss and her Zerg go up against them. You don't usually get that view, because most of the time, it's not the kind of esport professional scene. It's going to be the more casual scene. You're going to have people like, say, I don't even know if you played League to know this, but back when Scooch and his girlfriend... I
don't know any of the...
Okay, back when Scooch, who was like a gold level player in League, was in his relationship with his girlfriend, Rebecca, who goes online as Serenade. They were like one of the it couples on the internet. They were the ones that originated the meme of, yes, me, my girlfriend, and her 500-pound oversized Pokemon plush. You can find this meme on Know Your Meme if you really looked for it really hard. They were the power couple that was responsible for throwing a fit at Riot Games for creating Seraphine. And her first introduction was basically a character that was doing the girlfriend experience. This rubbed her raw because she basically did OF, and this was the girlfriend experience she sold. It actually made him tilt out because he had to defend his girlfriend from the entire internet making fun of him. Mm-hmm. It made her have to tilt out because basically everybody was like, no, bro, this isn't your girlfriend. This is our girlfriend. And the unfortunate problem of this is that this perspective then gets completely pushed onto all other women. Because it is normal for women to want to go live and do makeup. It is normal for women to want to feel cute, attractive, do any kind of beatification that they want to do. Black males, black females, we're no different. We love our beauty sleep. I love my fucking bonnet. I love my do-rag. I love my hair looking good. I look looking fresh. That's just a part of the culture, just as much as it is a part of the gender. And the unfortunate problem here is that the dude bro culture and the assumptions about the culture and whether or not this person plays ball, whether they're willing to adapt, this is what holds the women back. The VTubers are able to get over this by the nature of not being on camera with their physical bodies. The lewd tubers who specifically choose to use their VTube bodies as a go-between for this, they're a part of this problem because that is also a corruption of the issue. But it is the case that for all the people like yourself that do it the right way, the perception of people having done it the wrong way and always benefiting off of it has locked in this perspective that we cannot get over unless this person steps outside of the Twitch ecosystem, because it's just a Twitch thing. On YouTube, this doesn't happen.
Yeah, it is just you're right, it is a Twitch thing. There are some people on YouTube who do it, but like they're kind of sequestered off into their own space. And I don't and the thing is with at least with YouTube, the people who do that kind of thing, like because the audience is sequestered into that space, it doesn't affect like the audience of every other female YouTuber as badly as it did on Twitch, right?
Yes.
And I don't want to say that I'm doing it right and other people are doing it wrong. You know, I think they're being smart, honestly. But at the same time, like it did affect, like you know, I remember initially when I first started streaming on Twitch, like it was so toxic, and they have that even if like my entire time online, I've never done OnlyFans, I've never done like explicit e-girl stuff, you know. You still get people who are coming in being super gross, who also are judging you based and comparing you to like every OnlyFans girl or every content creator who has an OnlyFans, and it's a very uncomfortable experience. And then if you're like not a conventionally attractive person, it can be like a very just a very weird feeling, you know, just very weird. Yeah.
Like there is this filter
because
where
knowing people just like have their eyes glued to you and they're like evaluating you that way, right? Like they're not evaluating the words coming out of your mouth, you know. So yeah, it's
really aggressive, because I'm not going to say that there is a beautiful feature, that there's a beautiful people feature or a beautiful people perspective, but it is the case that people that are attractive are just going to be naturally seen as more right, more just, more appealing. And it helps. It definitely helps, because the opposite can definitely happen too. Corpse Husband is a good example of, here you have people who are falling over their knees for this online creator, and then when he does a face reveal, it's like, ugh, get this man away from me. He's not the handsome hunk that I thought I would have in my dreams with my dark triad traits. This is not the man from my AO3 novels. And it's like, so you were only interested in him for his voice and not his personality? Damn, I wonder how he must feel when he goes to sleep at night. No different than people looking at me and trying to call me various forms of monkey until I call myself a quadrilla. That is a monster in Path of Exile 2. But it's like create an insult for a person, attack the person, then every single time they have a reaction, look at every micro adjustment on their face and see if you can attack them for this thing.
Oh man,
and
I
keep
hate that
hammering
shit.
them, and keep hammering them, and keep hammering them, and then say, oh, see, he can't hang here. Look at how they react. And it's like, if I say the slurs that are in my head, the roast is going to get me banned for a month. You can't do it. You can't uncork. Because while that would be more real, that's not what we're supposed to do as creators, but that's what some people look for. And a lot of that, because the guys get it and the girls get it, but the girls get it way worse than the guys. That is the thing that is causing it. It is the ghost of the fucking Xbox Live lobby, where you heckle the woman and see if she knows ball. And unfortunately, something that we haven't accepted, especially in broadcasting, is that actually, this wasn't a rule. This was never a rule. It was never something that was supposed to be a part of the space of, oh, people are going to haze you, but you got to know you got to roll the button. No, actually. This was something people did just to fuck with you. And then if they thought that you didn't react well, oh, we'll see this person, we can't invite this person to the group. Look at how they reacted when I just called them a fucking ugly sewer creature. I said that they were the sister of fucking Anna Kasparian if she was a Nazi wife. I said that she was like Brittany Venti. And she's crying? Oh my god, look at her. Same thing for the guys. Yeah. Same thing for the guys, but worse. Because it's like, guys don't get it as bad as women in general, but when a guy is the target of a popular person doing this, because I was harassed by Natalie Casanova, the Zombie Unicorn. Myself, Plain Rock, Siren Cove, and like a handful of creators that didn't really have a platform to speak of, as well as the Bang Dancers and the Bang Ambassador from what fucking year was that was that E-Expo? Was it 2016, 2014? It was the Bang Dancers, and it was Natalie getting angry that they were having shuffle dancers and that there were male booth babes that were running the floor while the shuffle dancers were doing their physical exercise that they were contracted to do as they were hired for the event, where she basically tried to kill booth babes. And I guess she was also successful. And this was the same year that she was getting blasted over her Bully Hunters hoax. People like me were getting shit pushed because it's literally who, known female. Simp audience attacks literally who. Who the fuck is that guy? Why should his voice even be heard? Look at him. Look at his face. Who is he? Like, I can pull up the fucking thread from Keemstar, who came to my rescue because he specifically hated Natalie, and was able to give me access to the platform to then be heard. Someone popular had to give me the opportunity to speak on a platform so he could elevate it and be like, this woman is a fucking liar. She's not angry because I'm supposedly an anti-simp or a simp that broke containment. She's angry that I can see what she's doing and she doesn't like it. The same way that she fucking went off on Plain Rock when he went up to her at the event and said, let me get a this is what it's all about. People push the button with them, and this happens often. Lord Pokemon's probably going to do it this month alone if she hasn't done it already. And they antagonize you, they attack you, and then they let the internet tear you apart. Twitter, do your thing. TikTok, do your thing, I guess now. And the problem is that you don't see it as often because when people are on their Twitch, they're completely broken off from the world. And nothing exists outside of it. But you can see them doing it on Twitter. You can see them doing it on subreddits. You can see them doing it in their Discords if you have to survey their Discords. You can see them doing it in social conversations online. And in private conversations as well. Doors getting shut to you because this high school mentality of G-checking people, we call it. Gang checking. G-checking people like, hey, yo, you gotta check in with me. I don't know you here. You don't know anybody here. You need to come through me in order to be through this. That kind of nature, both through online gaming and then social interactions, especially IRL Twitch events, is the barrier that stops people from meeting people. Because you're already unsure where to go and who to hang out with. And when you're a newer, smaller person, your natural inclination is that you want to hang out and get to know people, especially as a personality. And when you are smaller, especially when you are coming up in your, like, I would say sub 1,000 views, when you can start, like, slowly building up an audience and a repertoire of actual content for people to consume and watch. Videos, live streams, video essays, animation products, what have you. When you are at that level, there is a two-part system that causes this. There's you making your content and people deciding whether or not they think you're a shithead or not, and then just completely closing you out for political reasons. This is what happens with subreddits, deciding that a person does deserve to be popular, and thus they create hate Reddits dedicated to you if they don't like you enough. Any known figure attacking you for whatever reason, and or a creator seeing you as a potential threat when you grow larger and more relevant because they see a spark of potential in you, and it's like, I need to crush this before it ever develops against me as a weapon formed against me. And then the second factor is the closing of the door with people deciding that you are not cool enough to hang out in this space with these groups of people for whatever purpose possible. It is the case sometimes, you could have said that back in the past, those panel shows were basically the screening process that allowed this to happen. Since then, you would then decide, I like the vibe of this person, I'm going to then call them to come do this other thing. Because that kind of collaboration is where you can end up seeing a bunch of people pop up everywhere. Because smaller people have no problem showing up. Bigger people, certainly there's a business obligation where it's like, I can't show up to this event because I gotta go do another thing that I'm obligated to. Or, I need to go edit this thing that's a part of my content because this is how I actually make my money, not the public appearance. You could probably say this is what Dev does on a regular, with all the people that he does this with. Even though there is a group chat that is inside of Discords like his, where they all talk to each other, but it's a paid level tier. I think his is that you have to pay like $100 to him over either in one lump sum or over the time that you've been in his audience to get access to this, unless you're already known to him as a personal friend. And they all talk collectively in a circle like that. All Discords are like that. They've always been like that. You've always had enclaves and communes to themselves. But the open nature of the internet allowed for it to be an osmosis barrier where culture permeated, even if you did not include yourself in that culture. So even if a person never interacted with Twitch idpol, they knew about Hippy Dippy Championship. And usually it is because of drama. Even if they didn't know about the Hippy Dippy Championship, and specifically the people who were on it, they saw those content creators because they were probably being covered in drama by influencers in the commentary community. And those commentary community people, being the bigger channels that are discussing the issues, that is then the jumping in point where people then hear about information and news. So now what has happened here is that it's flipped. Now you hear about endless drama, but it's not actually important for you to know. It's not cultural stuff. It's slop. It is slop. It is slop to entertain you.
Yeah, slop. Yeah.
So you never.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like we need to carve out a new space, kind of.
Yes.
At least with like the YouTube sphere, I just feel like, and I felt this way a year, 2 years ago. It felt like the old Twitch poll space kind of died, and it turned into just kind of like a very like snarking anti-fan kind of space.
Yes.
And it just felt. And then I was just trying to kind of like move past that, and I know a couple of friends have successfully done that, but I don't know. I think we just need to carve our own space out, you know, like BreadTube did it, and now like all the right-wing spaces have their own thing that, you know, usually on Twitter though, really more on Twitter, but
yes.
But they're all like, I don't know. I think we just need to kind of we need to bring back that kind of like community kind of feel, and I think also it would be good to kind of like, I don't know, it would be good if all of us could through that, making this like kind of community feel again, start carving out smaller spaces out of that, you know. It's but maybe we need another panel show again, you know. Maybe that's what needs to happen, but I feel like Wick has one, right?
I would definitely say that creation of new content that then creates a new platform and thus a new space is definitely the start. But what will really jumpstart the process is when the smaller communities, like say your server, my server, people interact in it and actually get to know each other cross community. So let's say you have a person who's from my audience and they hear us and see us talking here today, and then they say, oh wow, Stardust sounds like a cool person. I wonder what the people in her server are like. And then I don't know if you I entered into your server today, so I don't know if that's because it's open to the public or if it's specifically
it's open to the public. Yeah.
So let's say you have a server like mine and yours that are open to the public, and our servers are 18 plus. Because I don't think, even though I did start my channel when I was a adolescent, I grew into my adulthood status because I had to basically find out what I wanted to do with myself for content, because it was basically a vlogging channel that was just dedicated to my political and scholastic accolades until I decided to go in the direction I did. You have these two communities that cross over with each other like this, and you have them interacting with the content. Now you have two people that will follow you and follow me, interacting and cross-pollinating content with each other. Whenever I do something, you'll hear about it if I go live, if it happens to be particularly interesting, or in general, should the alerts actually function. And then same thing with yours. Then let's say you have somebody who also has relation to me that knows of me because of Dev being a personal friend of mine. And from Devon, they go to DevCord and they bring that content that I did with you here today to them. Then that creates a piqued interest where they're like, oh, interesting, cool. Star's not a shithead. The same way that the leftists would be like, these two shitheads are talking to each other. They're going on the burn list. Yes, we're going to ruin them. They start having that overlap, and then you start building this thing in the air. There's this movie. I don't know if you may have seen it. It's called Branded. It's like a film that takes place in Russia and uses American knockoff Russian products to tell a story about a man who's basically given the divine gift to see the tulpa of brands and how they manifest and how people access them. Basically, you're giving birth to this idea of what the space can be and what it can be shaped into from all the people who get it added onto it. Like a metaphysical spirit ball. You take some pieces of me, you take some pieces of you, you take some pieces of Dev, you take some pieces of people like maybe Arch, Warhammer, and Lum Lum, you take some pieces of the unhinged fox girls of Twitch, which is basically Pippa Pipkin, even though she's a bunny, Curse Festal, who is a type of fox, and then Smugalana, who's like an ice sprite fire fox. Then you take the opinions of people like Mama Oka, who happens to be one of the transgenders that actually is based. You take some of the examples of the right-leaning VTubers like Leaflet, who debated Naira VT. Don't know if you know who that person is. Oh god, they are odious. You take some examples of all these different figures, maybe Memphis Wave, maybe Sitch and Adam, maybe Anakin Sparian, maybe, I'm not thinking of
we
it.
got a racist in the chat. Okay, IDF Kills Children says, hello, Lakshmi, looking so super. Okay, anything? I'm just waiting for you to have your punchline here. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
They're calling you Lakshmi, the demon from Shin Megami Tensei? That's a goddess, bro! You're calling her a goddess! You know that, right? What a weird insult!
I don't...
Oh.
Well, yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean, it is a little bit sacrilegious to Hindu people, but yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize. I play way too many
you're fine.
games.
Look, I'm not offended, so, you know, I'm not offended, but yeah.
But yeah, you take
some Hindu people might be, but yeah, I'm not. I'm not Hindu, so.
I'm gonna ask about that after I'm done with my thought. But, you take some pieces of all these people. I remember who I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
What is his goddamn name? Actual Justice Warrior. He says his name all the goddamn time. I'm forgetting. But, Actual Justice Warrior, Memphis Wave, the Honey Badgers, both Allison Tiemann, Hannah Wallen, Mike Christensen, Dr. Ramaracam, all of the people who basically made YouTube into what it is by being the beginning point of what was basically the reply guys to the bedroom feminists. You could probably throw in Lacey Green there too. You could probably throw in people like Some Ordinary Gamers before he became what he was, and also maybe the dating what was her name? Lacey Green era of Bernie Bro, Committed for Life, Chris Ray Gun, when he actually believed in his musicals and didn't become a political cuck so that he could make it to the big time. And definitely a time before the Act Man was a content creator. You bring in all of these different influences and all these different people and the entertainment of the resources, and you end up building a space. You do it through the content, and you actually do it through hanging out with these people and actually playing video games online. Because really, what you need, unfortunately, the dumb autists were correct about this. You need people playing games together. Honestly, truthfully, that's really that's really
or
the crux.
Collaborating in some sort of way. Yeah.
You need them playing games and collaborating and talking to each other in order for this to even begin. Because planning the thing is not the problem. It is actually like the trepidation and fear of, I don't know if this is going to go well. I don't know if I'm going to come off well. I don't know if they're going to like me. I don't know if their audience is going to like me. A lot of the fear goes away once you just do the thing. You just do the thing. And then the fear goes away because it's like, okay, I know this person. I know them well enough that I can trust them to be honest with me when they talk to me. And then from there, you basically are using social proof as the trust value, where it's like, I've never heard of this single player Carl, but he knows this person, this person, this person, this person, this person on a first name basis, and they all hang out with each other, so I might as well check out their content too. And that was literally what built the older influencer marketer generation, when they were the first ones on the net. What happened is that they decided to pull the ladder up behind themselves and only interacted and engaged in that way. And the only time somebody entered in outside of that was if they themselves basically grew in that presence, or if they were grown in that space. Like people like Vanilla Mace. Like the come up of one Baby No Money, who just decided to inject himself into the id poll of the who's who of LSF and became a Hassanite overnight. Like with all of them. Making music with them, inviting OTK but censoring out Asmongold, so you know he's not for Asmongold, actively antagonizing both Asmongold and Ethan Klein on a podcast by name, and effectively showing up inside of Hassan's mansion and streaming with him. This was how they built the new generation versus the old generation. Meanwhile, all of those people that were a part of the old YouTube, if they didn't outright quit they basically went underground. All of those people are now on TikTok, making their content in that cycle. And while they did have control of Jack Dorsey Internet, especially during the time when we didn't have the servers in America as we do now, after the supposed TikTok ban, where they transferred the servers from China to, I think it was Dakota, one of the Dakotas, you had these people growing their audience in a place where they could go without scrutiny. And it was basically like the equivalent of Tumblr. They built sub-communities interacting with each other to basically gatekeep information. And whenever you wanted to learn about something that was happening, you either had to study all the TikToks, like you're going through a CSI feed, to connect the dots of the conversation about one particular topic. And you had to follow it based on the headlines. And you could see it based on who had the information and who made the call first, based who's waiting on the information on whatever. And then the sub-communities with all the hobbies, like, say, King Lion in comics, or maybe Flats Overwatch or Going Post State with people like Marvel Rivals and Overwatch and stuff. Or, technically, since this is apparently what they're doing, Harry Sasson and apparently are relevant, going on to TikTok and doing TikTok debates with people frequently. Whatever.
I need to figure out how to do that. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No problem. Whatever mechanism it was that people did to create the content, basically in this new system, to try and monetize the platform. 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. Whenever they were dealing with, with this system, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for her to pick up the phone in the other room.
Okay.
Made me put the phone base on my desk, and it's not that far away from my microphone. When they made this move to try and get into this new era of the first early adopter of the tech scene, to basically recreate what the first early adopters on YouTube did and on what Twitch did, they ended up creating this new Wild West where this was the way in which you get things. But at the same time, this came with everything else. This came with OnlyFans, this came with drama baiting, this came with nuisance streaming.
And it came with, the typical click stuff too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it all metastasized into this cancerous blob that this is now what we have to do. You have to navigate this field because of that push. We could have avoided it if it had been done properly. Because certainly you can make an argument that using something like TikTok would then make the ability for somebody to ingrain themselves into the social media feeds of short-form content creation to be a way to popularize themselves. But unfortunately, as we've seen with the case of people like Pirate Software, Jason Thor Hall and people like them, they can span those clips out like nothing. They have employees.
Yeah.
They have employees, technically, who, like yourself with Lonerbox, that they pay them to send out those clips. And it's easy to produce them.
Well, I do the clips for a loaner box for free, but because I bring this content. But
true!
But yeah.
I have my own that do that too. But it's the case that where we have people that, do we have any clippers in chat that do it for fun? They do it as a business economy. Even Hassan does it as a business economy. And when
there's a whole ecosystem. Yeah, there's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and so when you have that problem there, all of those problems all compound on top of each other. The AI problem, making it harder for accounts to actually hit the algorithm, people that are monetizing the algorithm to go viral with the worst behavior, the feedback loop of the monetization of the platforms, where you have people who are being paid to do negative engagement, like Ian Miles Strong.
Yeah.
They're baiting engagement by basically cycling posts and stealing posts from other people.
Or like all of the anti-Indian Twitter influencers now.
Or that! Maybe they'll change to attacking Somalis and attacking people from Minnesota. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, it did briefly, but then it went back. So, yeah.
All of these things all compound on top of each other. And it is a combination of a social problem and a tech problem. And the only way to move through it is the old school methods. You have to do it through grassroots methods. If you try to outsource it to some type of technology or to some type of platform, it is never going to work because there's too many of us now. It's not a problem of necessarily creators existing. It's consistent creators creating consistently and actively appearing when you're looking for them. Because there are plenty of people that are dynasties that produce slop endlessly. You can't really blame the commentary community. They're not really doing the slop because some of them actually have to do research. I know I have to do research. I know you probably do research as well. Nicholas Diorio, for his credit, even though people hate him because they just hate that he's so prevalent, he does research of his own, and he finds a way to make it energetic, while he technically does the same thing that we almost all of us do. Because we're all some version of Asmongold but X. I'm Asmongold but black. I guess you're Asmongold but Indian and female.
Oh, no, I'm not Asmongold, please. I don't want to be Asmongold, okay? But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, in the reactions, in the reaction
Yeah.
content sets, and all of
Sure,
us are,
maybe.
and all of us are reacting harder. We're not just lazily watching clips and siphoning views and being like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. We actually have something to say about it because we know some detail that we can actually elucidate on our audience. We actually did research so we can let them in on that are like, this is what you might have heard from people like Chug Logic, because in the example of, say, especially what I brought up on the debate with Pirate Software, I can promise you 99% of the internet only knows Moldovi's victory. I can promise you 99.5% of the internet only knows the Roachin clips. They don't know about the behavior of how the OnlyFans 2 event was put together by Soda Poppins. I doubt they even know who Soda Poppins is. I doubt that they know that they brought influencers.
I don't know any of these things at all, to be honest with you. So yeah.
So they don't understand how that entire event happened. But I can promise you they know the drama of what happened with him. I can promise you they know the drama of how he besmirched Stop Killing Games and Ross of the Accursed Farms. I can promise you that everybody going back through his content found the same pattern of behavior and found the clips and the VODs that he tried to delete that were preserved by people like me and people like you that wanted to see this be covered. I know Girl with the Microphone is a good example of somebody who did that preservation. I know Nicholas Diorio is a person who did a good example of that documentation. Hell, half of that being covered by people when it comes up, if it's interesting enough, by even he who must not be named, Mr. Medicare, who scares these people because that is actual grassroots power. Somebody from the older days of the Google Hangout who made his bones by being basically an internet troll who became a person that was considered the gold standard of what an influencer and a creator should be, not because he had trolls remorse like many people on the left did and some people on the right, depending on how they felt about it, but because this is how the internet was. They were a natural denizen of the internet and they earned their spot to be here. So you want to be like them and you want their audience, but you can't take it from them because you're not Medicare. So you have to get your own. It is the case that people... Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think I need to start wrapping up soon because we're at like 6:30.
Okay,
yeah, sorry.
No problem.
Go ahead.
But it is the case that is what really causes it. However, that's the end of my statement. I need to know about Lakshim. The internet is fucked. You need people to actually work together and get to know each other and actually hang out and do shit in order to fix it. All of the problems that are the metastasization of it, the only way to do it is to be grassroots. You have to start, and this is a good start to it. But I really want to know about the Lakshim thing. Can you explain that to me?
The what?
The word the guy called you. I don't understand how that's an insult.
Oh no, it's not necessarily an insult. It's just somebody using like a Hindu goddess to say my name. You know, they came in with a username that's obviously very inflammatory. IDF kills children, and then they're calling me. You know, so it's just like it's like when somebody calls me Mindy Kaling. You know, so yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's bored. You know, I'm not offended at it at all, really. But it's just like, okay, I'm waiting for them to have a punchline. So, but I think I took the wind out of their wings. So they haven't come up with a punchline yet.
Man, yeah. I remember when stuff like that used to happen to me. They stopped after the first time that I started roasting them just based on what I discovered. Because as an ex-Fed, it's like, do you really want me to get interested into looking into your background? Because I can do it like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to do anything with it, but I find it really interesting that you were here at fucking 5:51. What were you doing at Jeremiah's Golden Scoop, bro? You needed that chunk of chocolate, didn't you? It gets lethal. It gets lethal. But I get it. Everybody gets it. Everybody's got to, deal with it.
I mean, it's not even the worst, I've seen, really. That's why I'm just, I'm waiting for, the worst thing that you're going to say, but they didn't, so,
What is the worst that you've had said? Just off the top of your head.
Let me see. I made a whole compilation of things for something that I was working on.
A compilation?
I mean, it's not even the beginning, right? But I've been on the You know what? When I first started streaming, probably one of the scarier things I saw was somebody stream sniping me, and then they were typing in my chat that they were gonna. Let me see if I can find it. They were typing. That was so. I'll say I've been. probably the combination of me being and new to streaming, right? Here it is. This foreigner is a liar, lying scum, go back to India. Dumbass, go home, not welcome in my country. I will find you, I kill you, I will kill you, bitch. Torture you, I will torture you, whore. Your little Indian screams, it will be hilarious. And then I looked at their thing and they were like live watching me, and I was like, bro. So probably that when I first started streaming, just because I was like, I didn't know how to react to that, and I wasn't expecting that. But but I mean, I don't know. I'm very desensitized to a lot of the comments that I get. So you know, yeah, let me see here. Very desensitized. So like I'll have friends who will be like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like but for me it's just like it's like there's a low hum of it all the time. Let me see here. I mean, there's obviously people you are a brownoid and have third world features. Shit-colored skin people are failed science experiments, will face re-immigration soon. Street shitter, maybe focus on spreading awareness of importance of toilets.
No, that's just bottom rung. Come on, they can try harder.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not really, I'm just so desensitized to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can get that. Like, I know that there's this idea that for African Americans, we're supposed to react to when people call us the hard R. But the thing is that having worked in government and seen the kind of things that people will call a government worker, a service worker, it's like, I could not care less. Because I've also worked in actual retail and customer service. So I've dealt with service work. I've dealt with government work. I've dealt with the public, and I've dealt with the public when they're hungry. I feel like if, out of all four of those, the worst I ever actually got was people when they're hungry. Because the uniform... like the uniform, and especially if they make you wear a fucking hat that ruins your hair, like my beautiful, beautiful afro, and this goddamn thing giving me this goddamn dent in the middle of my head. When you're in that uniform, and it's you, and you're between them and their fucking nuggies, that's probably when I've gotten the worst shit. I've learned to just dodge plates. Like, I'm perfected instinct Goku. Like, I think the worst was specifically when I worked for Waffle House. Because I was, in fact, the person that's...
Waffle House.
I was the person that was dodging plates and was the only male on the floor with a group full of women that was outworking the women. Just simply because somebody calls me a slur, I think of a funny comeback on the spot. I don't know. Maybe it's the exaggerated swagger of a black male. But it just rolls off the tongue. But it's a racial feature. It's a racial trait. Not everybody can do it. But it is something you can learn if you do it enough.
I think for some of us, like in front-facing roles, like you kind of have to learn to kind of just like let it go. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to do these kinds of things. But I don't think that should be the norm, right?
I
don't think it's necessarily, but I don't think it's like it is online though, right? Like there is a low hum of like just stuff you have to deal with. I don't think it should be that way for other people or for anybody who goes on Twitter, right? Like there's a serious issue with Twitter right now. I shouldn't be hearing about this from family members or seeing like videos of little kids crying over like the racial abuse that they're experiencing at their schools, like there is a serious problem there. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with people who do react strongly to like being inundated with like hundreds of insults focused on their identity, right? That like humans are not built to deal with that. So like while I have become very desensitized to it, is it a good thing? I don't know. Probably not.
I think with the advent of what happened to Kirk and his family, and the fact that it then was followed up by what it was followed up with, Kirk, then Irina Zarutska, and now the issue with both people trying to attack Indians because I guess they just thought they were easy licks. Oh, no. I remember. It was because of It was because of someone Arena Gamer. This was a sin that was put onto you by Mutahar. That's why. That's right.
No, it's not. It's not Mutahar. It was happening way before Mutahar.
I think
it was happening way before Mutahar.
I know that the jokes.
Mutahar has nothing to do with it.
Like I know the jokes happened before.
The H1B stuff. Yeah, no, it has.
Wait, no, you're right.
H1B stuff.
You're right.
Yeah,
it was Vamaswamy.
Nothing to do with Mutahar. Mutahar is fine. Like, he had nothing to do with racial hatred. If anything, he was in the same boat as me, and he got it much worse than I did. So I don't want to I don't want to bring him into this. He's not responsible for any of it. He was probably one of these people who was a lightning rod for it, and he left Twitter for a good reason because of that, and everybody made fun of him, but nobody knows what that's like. Humans aren't built to deal with that. There's not anything more honorable about being able to deal with it and deciding that it's not for you, not dealing with it, you know? So so like I don't blame him. It's all the H1B stuff and people sounding the alarms and saying that Indians are like low IQ, but they're stealing all our jobs that are that require master's degrees. You know, so I don't know. It's a lot of great replacement stuff as well. There's a lot of great replacement conspiracy around that, and they think that the Indians are like engineered by the Jewish people to like come and replace everybody or whatever. I don't know. So
you code Mexican. But to speak to what you said, I think the nature of it being that we've all become desensitized is actually a step in the wrong direction. I was actually talking about this before I did a Yappin', which is my Sunday call-in show that I do from my server for my audience, for anybody who wants to take the challenge to come into the call and speak about whatever it is that's on their mind. I was speaking to Bass FCZ, who does culture commentary, usually from the black and male perspective, especially around things like, say, the Red Pill, and social topics like this. And he and I were having a conversation with other people hearing us, where we discussed that, especially with his view about June Shoehead, that he felt that one of the things that was an eye-opening moment for a lot of people was to really notice how this kind of rhetoric metastasized into an actual problem for commentators, because if they're willing to attack somebody and hurt someone and then murder someone, like Kirk for what they say, there's really no telling what people are going to be willing to do at all. Because the last time that we technically ever saw this kind of thing happen, and I don't mean like something happened and an altercation was stopped by a bodyguard. I mean the last time that we saw a type of influencer or a type of public figure get assassinated just for existing and being a person that people liked was, I believe, Christina Grimm. To have that go from distant memory to someone's dead on campus, mic in their hand, answering a question, and the person that does it has the audacity to put "ooh woo, what's this" memes and the input combo for a 50 kg bomb for Helldivers on the bullet kind of harkens back to the Christchurch shooting. Or I forget what mosque it was, the one that was tied to sub to PewDiePie one. I think that is Christchurch, but that kind of attack. It is Christchurch, yeah, that was happening to the mosque. It harkens back to that, where that was explicitly, I'm going to do this to get attention. What's the most popular thing happening? Oh, there's this war between PewDiePie and T-Series. I'm going to inject this here, and that just immediately knocks the culture sideways because none of us know how to react to that. And it's nobody's fault that it happened. He didn't ask for that to happen. He didn't ask for that attention, but it was put on him, and it's like, oh, shit. Because it's worse than his N1 moment, which happened out of rage, and it was gamer rage, not antagonistic, hateful rage. You know, something that you'd expect from somebody like Bake Alaska, or something like from the biggest podcast in the universe, from Buster Baxter, as Eric July called him, and his fat Italian stand-in for his fucking lackey. But it was this level of accelerationism that it got so bad so quick that some people were like, oh shit, it actually is at the point where it's possibly a race war. Actually, somebody might take me out because I told a joke that they didn't like, and they might have somebody who lives near where I live, and they might actually do it. I already had people try to do this to me, so it's like, it's whatever. But that's not something you're mentally prepared to handle. You don't go into creation, and then you think, I need to get somebody to work security for my small 20-person meet and greet, because someone might shank me with a knife. You're not in that mental state where it's like, when I go to this event, DragonCon, TwitchCon, AWA, Gen Con, whatever convention you can think of, that I need to have a bodyguard so that I don't get my drink spiked, I don't get followed to my hotel room. I don't get antagonized while I'm on the convention floor. That somebody doesn't try to do something uncouth to me. That somebody doesn't try to photobomb me. That somebody doesn't try to nuisance string snipe me or whatever. That's something that you don't want to have to think about. And certainly you wouldn't want to go through the worst that I think any smaller content creator went through, which is what I did, which is we have people who ingrain themselves in your audience to try and audience capture you, and they use your insecurities against you. That's probably the worst one. Because then it's like, I've been creating for people who hate who I am inherently, but I feel like if I don't do this thing, that it might be the case that I will never be able to reach this level of popularity, which is itself a lie that you tell yourself, because they do it when you're new, so that you don't have the antibodies to defend yourself against it. Everybody has to build them up some way, but some people get it worse than others. People like to claim that it's the blacks, but I think it's other minorities. I think it's probably your minority who gets the worst.
No, I don't know about that, but I think I don't even want to do that. Like, who gets it the worst, right?
It's not about a social cycle, but it's like the levels at which it comes from, the severity of how it comes at you determines how you end up growing your defense against it, which also can sometimes explain why people would put themselves in a fortress arc, where it's like, I don't want to interact with any person who's going to be negative like that with me. But then it means then you end up having a policy of no outward engagement, only when you reach out to other people. And it's already hard if it's male to female or female to male, for the obvious reasons of, like, someone creeps in your DMs, and now you're having a moment where you're like, kidology.
Well, I mean, it's even like, if you're a female and you interact with any male content creator, then it's like people start rumors and all of that. So, or people will just say weird shit, you know. But no
one's prepared for this, and it's something you have to grow into. And some people were lucky, and they got in before the racial component became a part of it. It honestly feels like
it was always part of it.
It was.
It feels like it was always a part of it.
Like it was, but it's definitely gotten a lot crueler, a lot faster within the last 4 years. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it has. At least in the past 2 years, I've noticed some crazy inflation in some of the really hateful rhetoric. But I think I got to get going now, because I told my chat I would start doing some research on one of my video essays, and then I have to I have to end up doing some editing later tonight as well. Sorry, just a second.
Take your time. I got all day.
So it was good talking to you, though, and it was really interesting to hear your perspective on like the whole creator space and like collaboration and stuff like that. So yeah,
I'm more than happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about whenever you want to do it.
Okay, yeah, cool, same thing. Well, it was great meeting you and talking to you. Have a good one. Oh, wait. Let me link your YouTube channel. Just a second.
Okay.
Chat. This is Single Player Carl. Go check out Single Player Carl. Okay. And he's very cool. Okay. He's very down to earth. He's also a friend of Dev's. Short Fat Otaku. Okay. So go check him out. All right. Well, it was fun talking to you, Carl. I'll see you later. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. You get down to business.
Bye.
And I'll see you later. Goodbye.
You too. See ya.